You heard the music. Yes, it is time for yet another episode of Hoops Across the Mountain State. This is episode 105. And let me just start by saying this already. The inner 11-year-old in me is going ecstatic. Let's just say it like that. We'll get into that in just a second. But thank you all for joining me for this 105th episode of Hoops Across the Mountain State. I'm your host, Taylor Kennedy. Thank you all for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about this podcast, including my other podcast, my football podcast as well, which we'll get into later on in the program as well. You can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as well. Well, as I said, the inner 11-year-old in me is just going bananas. Let's just say it like that, because my guest today is an Istanbul native, arguably one of my favorite players growing up, watching him play. I've told a couple of people this before I even got onto this podcast with him, and that is the fact that I developed and I watched him with the hook shot. So we'll get into that. The art of the hook shot. Might do it better than Kareem. Let's just say it now. Might do it better than Kareem. I didn't say that, but but let's get right into this because this is going to be a great episode. So let's not keep my guest waiting for episode 105, and that is Deniz Kilicli. Deniz, welcome to the program.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it having me on the program. It was a great introduction. I don't know what to do now, how I'm going to follow after this. Well, thank you. And hi from Turkey.
Yeah, so give us an update. How is everything for you? What have you been up to? Are you still playing?
Yeah, I am playing. This is my 5th season in Turkey. And I just finished the season. We didn't make it to the playoffs, unfortunately. So our regular season ended. And for the team I was in, which is Büyükçekmece, like I said, it's a mouthful to say. We were battling for, being in the mid-section of the league. But we had a somewhat successful year this year. I just finished that. And my contract is over, and now I'm looking for new offers and stuff, and I feel like I can keep playing for another 4 or 5 seasons probably.
Body-wise, how are you feeling? Obviously, we spoke with Kevin Jones a few weeks back, but he said he's still, dealing with some gimmicks. How's your body feeling?
Well, I never felt better actually. If we exclude college, because you're never gonna be in the same shape as in college, and especially if you're playing for Hugs, you're never gonna be in better shape than when you're in college. But since I started professionally, I think I haven't been this in shape in a long time, because I lost a lot of weight. I end up seeing in myself as the years go, as I went down in my weight, I didn't lose any of my strength. So start working a little bit more professionally with the dietitians and everything. So this year, I'm normally at 260, 265. That's where I played in college also. Now I play at 245, which is amazing for me. I'm a little bit more mobile. And unfortunately, 2018, I tore my Achilles, and it was a very bad from the very bad place with the. It was destroyed, and doctors were saying I wasn't going to be able to play probably. So I end up playing, and from there we said, you got to lose weight. You got to lose weight. You can't be this many people, right? You can't be this many people. You got to be less people, all right? So I was 265 at that point, and now I'm ended up being 245. I have no problem. So, like I said, I feel like I can play another 4 or 5 seasons.
Now, people are watching. Sorry to cut you off, but if people are watching, people will remember you for having the big beard, like almost you just got in the
Right,
mountains of West Virginia, just finished
right,
cutting up some wood.
right.
Now it seems
Right,
like it just went over your head and just said, "Here, let's just give you a mane like
right.
a lion."
Well, actually, I still had the beard. I just recently shaved it. I mean, this is a couple of days of scrub right here. Um, Now the sun's coming up. I want to get a little bit of the tan over here, so I don't look like black and white or like this. So sometimes I give my beard the rest and shave it off and then grow it back again. But beard never goes anywhere, man. That's part of me. That's part of me. That's the mountaineer in me.
Well, you can pretty much just come back and be the Mountaineer. I mean, with NCAA
Well,
rules, you can just come back overseas, just be like, "Hey, I'll be the Mountaineer next season."
yeah, I'll be the mountaineer forever. That would be a dream job for me after I retire.
That would be cool though if they brought back like somebody that went to college at WVU, came back, they were just a Mountaineer for that one year, like an alumni year. I would, hey, first ballot right here. Just saying.
Right. We said it first over here. If that happens.
Now, okay, let me ask you this. So we're talking about being the mascot and the beard. Did anybody come up to you in college and say, "Deniz, you would be a great Mountaineer"?
Yeah. Actually our mountaineer said that a bunch of times. I think it was Barack when I was over there. And we always had like ESPN would pick they picked up on that right away and started doing stuff like before the games we would do like a side by side thing. When I'm warming up they would put the mascot over here, me over here, and then we started doing things together before the games, which became a thing. I think at one point we got in trouble as a school for selling Fear the Beard t-shirts or something like that. There was a you're not supposed to do that. And back then the rules were like that. I don't know how it is now, but there was this Fear the Beard thing, and there was this little kids. They were having these like red beards that you can like you know put in there over their ear, and like they were selling those and stuff. I mean, it was amazing time, and it was great for me because I always liked to have a beard before West Virginia. If I like, I was like, if I can grow a beard, I'd like to do it like the epic beard like this, and I always see myself like that, and it was a great fit for me.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you this then. I know people are like, this is a basketball podcast and you guys are talking about beards. Well, I'm sorry. We're going to talk about one more question with beards. Biggest beard secret that you can provide for people that are wanting to grow a beard, i.e., myself. I'm trying to do something. I can't really do it. It only grows like here, but I can't go the full way like you
Dude,
did.
dude, I'm gonna break your heart probably, but it's genetics, man.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
genetics, man. It's they're gonna. I see a lot on Instagram right now. Like, if you don't want to have a beard and use this product, that don't work because that's how I always been. I mean, I was in high school when they recruited me. My senior year in high school, and back then I had a beard. So, I mean, that's how I was. People didn't even believe me because I was coming from Turkey. They're like, "Oh, this kid is probably older," you know, because I guess that's what a lot of the kids do when they come from other countries. They end up like changing their ages and stuff. Which I didn't know anything. So everybody was kind of like approaching me like this because you're a senior in high school and you have a beard. Well, I'm from Turkey. We have That's how we are, you know. We're naturally hairy people. So yeah, it was a great fit for me, man. Being mascot, being just like me. Me having a red beard, which was a great thing. It was so much fun.
Did you just say you had a red beard?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little reddish. You see, like it doesn't match my hair color.
I did not
And
know this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the pictures, it's like there's a little bit of red. It's not like,
Oh, I
red,
see. Okay.
red. There's a little red. So he was like just like the Mountaineer. And Barack had the same kind of thing too back then, our Mountaineer. And which was great. Like I said, they picked up on that right away, and it was a big deal for me. Everybody would, recognize that.
Okay. I said that we're gonna have one more beard question. This is gonna be the last beard question. But I looked you. I literally just looked you up on Google because I was trying to see the red in your beard. And I see it, but
Yeah.
I come across this Yahoo Sports article, and the headline says, "Tragically, West Virginia's Deniz Kilicli shaves his trademark beard." It has the
Yeah,
side by side. Did you lose a bet?
right.
Did you lose a bet, my man?
Yeah, well, that was actually an accident. Um, I was doing like a barbecue thing in front of our porch, and I end up getting too close, and whoosh, yeah, the center of my beard kind of like went in like this, and there I end up shaving it and put it on Twitter, and Twitter was new back then. It wasn't like this now. So we used to use that for, like, I don't know, telling your friends you did something. We didn't use it for a lot of this, what's going on right now. Um, well, I put it on. I put the picture. I supposed to be something like this or something like that, right? The picture's like me giving a thumbs up, like, hey, I just got my beard. And Yahoo Sports and all that, ESPN, all of them picked up, like they were like, oh, there's Clay's beard. I'm like, oh, it's a big deal. Well, I gotta grow it back again. So yeah.
How about that? That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Okay, enough about beards. Let's get into some hoops. So,
right.
looking at your childhood over in Turkey before you initially came over to the United States, what was basketball like, and what does basketball continue to be in the country of Turkey?
Well, when I was growing up, I already had a couple basketball players in my family. My uncle played basketball professionally, but uh, didn't keep up with it because back then, I mean, we were talking about late 70s, early 80s. Back then, you had to work another job to play basketball. I mean, basketball didn't pay the bills like that. So he played, I think, 5 years, and he ended up going to music, which what I did in college, I did it opposite. Like I played basketball and I played guitar on the side. Well, my uncle took that because he couldn't make money playing basketball. He started going into music, and that's what he still do now. And my father was uh, a fan of basketball. He didn't play himself, but back then, and my father is a little older. Uh, in the Black Sea region of Turkey, they had these American bases back in the day to watch Russians what they're doing, if they're gonna shoot a nuclear bomb in the Cold War times, and they would have these U.S. bases, and they would have, like Air Force would play the Army or whatever. They would have basketball games like this, and he started watching it there and became a fan. So he started keeping up with it. And then when I was born, my first gift was a basketball from my uncle. So I was kind of like growing up to be a basketball player, anyways. And then when I was 6, I started playing for Efes, which is they just won yesterday and went to Final Four in EuroLeague. They're gonna play the Final Four. I started playing in their junior teams for uh, from 97, 96, 97 till 2007 till I come to US. So for me, basketball was always part of my life. I always had this I always had the desire to be a professional basketball player. For me, it wasn't just having fun, let's play basketball. I always looked at it like I'm going to be a basketball player, and hopefully I'll make money so I don't have to work any other job and just play ball for life. Well, 2006, 2005, 2006, with national team, I end up going to this tournament that was kind of like a world championship thing, but it wasn't called the world championship, but the US team was there. And I think Lance Stevenson, all those guys in my class, a couple of them were in the team. And so I played great against them. A couple of the coaches saw me. They're like, "Well, you want to come? You want to come to US?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know English. I don't know. I'm 16. I don't know what to do," and went back to Turkey. At that time, the basketball picked up in Turkey. The national team ended up playing the final in World Championship, and they were this great push for basketball being closer to soccer, because our first thing is soccer. We're European. So FS offered me a contract. It was a great contract too. It was a lot of money. But at the same time, our GM at that time said, "Look, man, you're 17, 16, 17 years old. And if my kid had this kind of chance to go to US and try, to play ball over there, I think I would send my kid to US. And if it doesn't work out and you don't feel good, or maybe you get really homesick and you don't want to be there anymore, we'll always have your contract over here." So I'm like, cool, and took off. And there's a couple other guys got in contract with me. I went to this another tournament at that same time, and Larry Bird was recruiting people for, I don't know. Larry Bird was watching kids, recruiting them for, I think, this Adidas camp, something like that. And they were picking kids, and they were going to make this European mixed team, like from all over Europe. They were going to make this team. So he saw me, he liked me, I guess, and put me in the team. And we played in this Adidas tournament. At that time, Ricky Rubio was in the team. We had a bunch of players that played in the league after that too. And we went to Dallas. That was the first time I went to US, and I saw the similarities, but also a lot of the differences between Turkey and US. How it was so much of a big deal in US. It was, 16, 17-year-old kids playing ball, and there's all these coaches, all these people watching, losing their, mind over it. And when I came back to Turkey, I saw it. I'm like, even the professional teams don't get that kind of exposure, and this is not even like a big deal in US. Like, it's not that big of it's not NCAAs, it's not anything. It's just a little camp. So I gotta be over there. And that's how I felt. And after the rest of it was high school, college, and here I am.
That is such a unique story. I mean, you mentioned how your dad and your uncle watched, loved, played some basketball as well, which got to where you were. And out of nowhere, I was not expecting a Larry Bird reference at all, but hey,
Yeah,
I'll accept it.
yeah, I wasn't expecting it either back then. When my coach told me, "Look, man, Larry Bird said you gotta, like, go and talk to him and give him your information, I guess, for this thing." I said, get out of here, man. Like, Larry Bird. And like, and back then I'm 16. And my uncle, like I said, my uncle was talking about Larry Bird. I'm like, is he still alive? What is he doing over here? What's he doing over here? What is he doing with me? You know? And well, it's ended up being real.
What a story.
All
What a
right.
story. Okay, so then go back to your childhood then, because I looked up players that played in the NBA from Turkey. So you have guys like Mehmet Okur, Hudo Turkoglu,
Yeah.
Ersan Ilyasova. Now you have Furkman Korkmaz, who plays for the 76ers. You know, when you look at basketball for you growing up, who were some people that you watched and you were just like, I want to try and duplicate what he does and apply it to my game?
I actually didn't have a player that I was looking up to like that. I mean, yes, actually, there was the first Turkish player that went to U.S. Was Mirsad Turkcan. He played for New York Knicks, uh, but he ended up coming back right away because I don't know why, but he was a good player. Ended up being a EuroLeague MVP a couple times, leading rebounder still, I think. Still most offensive rebounds, maybe second now, I don't know. But a very good player. He went to New York Knicks first, and I was kind of looking up to him. He was a really wild guy, though. That's why I liked him. He could shoot. He was around my size. He's actually my agent now. Well, yeah, he was this like wild. You never knew what he was gonna do. Sometimes he would just lose himself and just go, say something to the referee, get a tech, then start killing, dirty. That's what I was more looking at. Like I wasn't looking how he was playing or like how he shoot the ball or trying to replicate his moves. Because for me, if people that watch me always say this, I have a unique style that I play basketball. It might not be pretty, it might not be, what you like, it might not be efficient either, but that's what my body do. So I was always, because I started so little, I was always trying to find the thing that I like to do most. So I didn't look up to people and like try to replicate their moves and stuff. I always watched, try to learn, but I had to put my own thing in it always. So that's why I can't say I was looking up to this guy or that guy. As a basketball, like technically, but as a like how they were like Michael Jordan. I was young, but I am old enough to have seen him playing at his kind of at his prime. We would get up and watch, and my mom and dad would love watching Bulls games, and that was actually the only games that we would get because we didn't have these connections with like they didn't have the NBA TV or whatever. So uh, some regular TV would buy the rights of Chicago Bulls games and we would watch it. So like I would watch Michael Jordan, but I can never be him. I can never be him. I know that. But I would watch how he was like really fierce and wins every time, but how he does it, his communication with people and stuff like that. So I would look at things like that. I can't tell you I wanted to be like like Carlos Boozer or like whatever Dirk Nowitzki. I never looked at it that way.
Okay, all good. So go back to the AAU circuit that you played, or not even at the Adidas tournament that you spoke of that Larry Bird brought you
Yeah.
overseas for. So I assume that would have been quite the eye-opening moment for you.
Right. Yeah.
In what way?
Well,
In what way was it?
for me, first of all, before that I was already traveling. I was traveling, going all over the world. I was playing in Germany, then A week later, I would go to Croatia, and then I would play there, and then I would go to Greece, then play there, come back to Turkey, play another tournament, and then go to a camp. So I was always traveling, but never been to US, right? So they said, okay, we're gonna pick you. Here's your ticket. You're gonna go to Dallas, and most of the time, I always traveled with a team. This time, I had to do it all by myself. So, and it's a long road. It's 9 hours, 10 hours. I'm gonna fly and go to US. Never seen it, right? So went to Frankfurt. I was gonna, you know, from there we had 14-hour wait, and then we were gonna go to. Everybody was gonna kind of meet there, and then we were gonna go to Dallas together. Well, all these kids, they're in the European Union, so they end up flying in and then went to a hotel. Well, I didn't have a visa. I had to have a visa to get out of the airport. Well, for 14 hours, I just sleep on the floor and stuff. And they came and picked me back up. So I'm already going like, this wasn't worth it, man. 14 hours, I'm sleeping on the floor. This is gonna be shitty, right? Well, we went to, I think, Chicago first, and then from there to Dallas. And we landed to Chicago. I start looking around. I'm going, oh, this is like in the movies. This is like in the movies. I saw this before, right? I saw this airport before. And I'm looking out from the windows and seeing the cars. Cars are different. And it's just like in the movies. And I'm going, guys, like, this is crazy to me. And everybody's like kind of looking around and everything. So for me, it was really exciting. And then I went to Dallas, which was a different climate. It was a different climate. It was a different world. I'm going, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. So they picked us up, put us in this bus, and they gave us 2, 3 duffel bags, maybe more, like big duffel bags full of shoes and socks. And before that, I never could get stuff like that. First of all, we weren't really wealthy per se. Like, I couldn't get shoes whenever I want to. But at the same time, I'm wearing 18 shoes. And in Turkey, nobody wears 18. So nobody brings 18 shoes. Even Adidas, Nike back in the day didn't bring 18 shoes. So I'm going, oh my God, there's like 10, 18 shoes and socks and t-shirts and all kinds of gear. It's amazing. So, and they took us to this hotel. Hotel was amazing. I mean, even with the national team, which was the top, uh, luxury I've seen, we stayed in like, 3-star hotels and stuff. Nobody cared. So went to Dallas. It was amazing. This hotel was amazing. The food was amazing. They took care of us like we were pro players. And I'm like, okay, I see this happening for me. Like, I can stay here a lot longer. And then because they, I guess, treated us like that, I played so much better too. Played so much better because I was like, yeah, I'm the guy, you know. And then I ended up having the offers from high schools that could manage to have a foreign student in their school, and then from there it just multiplied. And I went, this is for me. I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm staying in the US, right? So yeah.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Your story, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but you mentioned how it's just like the movies. Well, the part in your story that you just mentioned about sleeping on the floor in an airport for 14 hours, that that reminded me a lot of the Tom Hanks movie, The Terminal. Have you seen that movie before?
No, no, I can't.
Well,
Terminal.
yeah, with
Is it
Tom
an
Hanks.
older movie? Is it an older movie?
Yep, came out in 2004.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Watch it, believe me, watch it, and by the way that you just like think back at the story that you just told me, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, they made a movie about me before I even knew it."
Right.
That's awesome though. So you get over here, and you go from Chicago to Dallas, and like you just said, they put you in a great hotel, great food.
Right.
Now, let me ask you a food question. Do you remember your first meal that you had in the United States? Now, don't say a
No,
hot dog. You cannot say hot dog.
no, shit, no. Um, we went to Dallas. I think it was late, so we didn't eat nothing. I mean, I didn't eat anything. It was already like dark. Went to sleep, wake up in the morning, and went to breakfast. I had these. I never had bacon before that. Never eaten bacon because you said Turkey is a Muslim,
Oh, okay, yep.
99.9% Muslim country. So, I mean, you see pork, but it would be pork chop for
Right.
in like a touristic hotels and stuff. It would be pork chop, and it doesn't look so different. Never had bacon before, and I'm not really religious person. Back in the day, I wasn't. My family is not. So, I mean, I was like, "What is that?" And they're like, "It's bacon." And it's American bacon. In Europe, they have uh, again, it's pork, but it's kind of like a sausage. It's not like a bacon that you would you classic bacon like crunchy, that kind of bacon. I never had it before. I had pork before. I just never had bacon. Dude, I took a couple pieces, took some eggs, and they had some gravy too. Gravy and biscuits. So it was like a southern, like a country thing, right? And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is like amazing. And then I had bacon. I'm like, guys, I think I'm just gonna eat the whole thing. And now I have a daughter who's about to turn 1. And every time she eats something new, I go, this is how I felt when I ate bacon. This is how I felt when I ate bacon because I see her eyes light up. Like if you give her like a I don't know, like a strawberry the first time she eats and she goes, "Oh my God," the first time having it. I go, "This is the first time I had bacon. This is how I felt." Exactly. So yeah, the first food experience was amazing also.
That is awesome. Bacon for the first time, and then now every time
Bacon
that
for
your
the
daughter
first
has
time
something
and
new.
forever after that, forever. Now we can find it. Now we can find it in Turkey. And it's more global now. Everything is more global. So bacon for life.
Bacon for life. I love it. Okay,
Can't
so
get that food.
we're gonna put the recruiting on pause real quick, and we're gonna continue the food discussion. You get to Morgantown, and
Right.
everybody's trying to teach you the way of West Virginia. Coleslaw on a hot dog, all that stuff. But pepperoni roll. Okay, let's
Yeah.
focus on pepperoni roll. First time you had a pepperoni roll was
First of all, I was in high school in Beckley,
that's
West
right.
Virginia.
That's right. I forgot
So
about that. I forgot to mention that.
so when I went to Dallas, I went back to Turkey, and then we started talking to schools. In Mountain State Academy back then, now I think it's the Huntington Prep. The name changed and they replaced, but the coaches that started with Huntington Prep was my coaches. So we were kind of like a prep school, and went to West Virginia. Like I went to Beckley right away. Uh, I went to Chicago first. I never know anything about West Virginia. They told me there's a school. We talked to the coach. We just emailing each other back and forth. And I went to Chicago. Somebody picked me up from there, and on the car, and we went like 10 hours, I think, 10, 11 hours to West Virginia, Beckley, right? And it was kind of like dark out, and they dropped me off at this middle of nowhere. Coach Rob Fulford was my high school coach, and he was gonna pick me up, right? So they dropped me off. I was in Chicago 10 hours ago, and I'm going, oh my God, this is like, and it was out in the middle of nowhere. There was like cars, sounds like interstate was like just across. It was just a little road. They dropped me off there, and I'm going, what? Where did I come? Like, what is this? What is this? I don't know. Like Chicago wasn't like this, you know. I'm thinking like, where is this place? But also it was beautiful. It was dark out, but it was like I like outdoors. So I'm going like, oh my God, it's beautiful, but it's kind of scary. There's nobody here. And I got like 2 bags and everything. Well, Rob picked me up and took me to the where I was gonna stay. And I end up after a month after that, I end up living with a family. One of my good friends that I made in class took me in, and I still talk to them. I call them mom and dad, and they're my brothers. So pepperoni rolls was right there and there. So you know what I mean? I had them because I was in West Virginia. So I went to US, Dallas first, came back, and then next time I came to US, it was West Virginia. So I was pretty uh, accustomed to the food. I also there was this in Beckley they do this. I don't know if they still do it. Chili thing like that. There's a chili festival. They do hot chili.
Yep.
So yeah, so I would go eat that, and it was amazing for me. First time I had pepperoni roll also was like bacon. Not as much. Bacon is my favorite, but and then after that I would go to in Morgantown. There was this place that went to in Fairmont. That made pepperoni rolls. I would buy them bulk, like 60 of them, and bring it home.
Oh, you're great. This is great. I'm absolutely loving this. I mean, here, let's just say like this. I don't know which place you're talking about in Fairmont, but let's just say like this: if you would have an NIL deal now, if you were playing basketball now, that would have pretty much been your NIL deal, name, image, and likeness deal now, where you made money off of it.
Oh yeah, right. They make money now, right? Yeah,
Right.
they can make deals with like car dealerships and stuff, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that. I got in trouble for not like having sponsored, just being a little. I played with a professional player for 22
Oh,
games, and then I got suspended. Now, I'm really happy for the guys, but it was kind of unfair for me now when I think back. They took 22 games away from me, man, my first year, which was terrible. I mean, mentally, physically, it was terrible.
yeah.
I wish they did that before, you know. I wish. I'm not talking about money. You can always make money, but uh, and it was way more than what I hoped for when I get my per diem from the school. When you're a foreigner, when you don't have your parents with you, NCA kind of gives you like this monthly. I think it was monthly, yeah, monthly check, and that was more than enough for me. I was good. I'm not really big into. I mean, if you give me $300 for a month, I'll live on that. If you give me 60, I'll live on that. Yeah, for me, money is not a big thing, but I couldn't play for 20 games, which was really hard. I wish they did that before, and I didn't get in trouble for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so go back, go back to when you got dropped off in Beckley. Did you feel like you were in a horror movie whenever they just dropped you off and just said, "All right, see ya"?
Not really, because I knew. I mean, the coach was gonna come and pick me up, and he came in like 10 minutes. But it was there's a haunting beauty to West Virginia, really. I mean, I've been all around it too. I mean, I've been in places that most of the local like West Virginians haven't been because I love the state. I love every bit of it. For me, in my dark times, in my happy times, in my successful times, in my failure moments, I always had somewhere to go, and somewhere to be. If I wanted to be by myself, I would just go to, like, let's say, uh, one of my buddies' farms and just hunt, you know, and didn't shoot nothing. Just went there, sit down, and like listen to birds and stuff, and just think. And it was beautiful. I mean, if I wanted to go swim and have fun, I went to Cheat Lake. I mean, if I wanted to get a little, get a little crazy, there's always like a little rough bar I wanted to go to. I would go there. There was a couple places in Beckley that I went to. Uh, there was caves that I went to. I mean, it was beautiful. And, it happens over a millennia, those things. And then you go in there and you see, and it takes all your worries away. And the people, people were amazing. To me, I mean, this is my experience. Maybe somebody else had a different experience, but I doubt it. It was so amazing. Everybody was so welcoming. I didn't even have. I'm still in Turkey, and I'm from Turkey. I'm still having this culture shock over here. I can't get adjusted to Turkey, being Turkish, and living here for 20, 30. I'm 32 years old. 27, 26 of 6 years of my life I lived here, and I still miss all the people, all the interactions I had, people I met, my friends, the nature and everything. I miss West Virginia. I I mean, I've been back before, but I haven't been back to West Virginia, which is very sad. Um, my folks that took me in, they live in Florida now. I go there. I've been to a couple other places in Florida, but it doesn't come close. I really miss it. I really miss it, and not just Morgantown. I miss it. I mean, I miss pretty much everywhere. I've been to, like I said, I've been to Fairmont. I've been to Beckley. I mean, everywhere, everywhere. Just, I still miss it a lot.
Okay, so you talked about how you were a nature person. You mentioned how you would go in the caves. You would just, free your mind. You just sort of just leave everything off to the side and just do what you want and just go outside and just absorb it all. Obviously, Europe is known for having beautiful land area, you know, geography is what we should say, geography.
Right.
But where would you put West Virginia compared to other places that you visited in regards to just natural beauty?
Top, top, because I'm biased. I'm biased. I mean, I'm not saying this from an objective view. I lived one of the best years of my life over there, and uh, the beauty, like I said, beauty comes with the people. It comes with. It's not just the trees and the rocks and the rivers and stuff like that. It's the people. It's how you feel. I always felt really comfortable and safe and happy when I was in West Virginia. And I've been in some dark times, man. I was away from my family. I couldn't go back all the time. I couldn't go back in the holidays. But I had another family that took me in. And I mean, they're, they lived there for 30, 40 years. I mean, they're pretty much West Virginians. I mean, they're from Kentucky, but they're West Virginians. So them and the other people that came to the games and talked to me, had even like a 2-minute conversation. You just have that kind of energy. I just had that kind of energy with people, and their eyes would light up, and I would get something from them. I always stopped to sign autographs when we had days that we had to sign for 3 hours. They would be still a line in front of me, and I would wait. I would make everybody wait and try to finish them all. When I go somewhere else in Beckley, people would just come up to me, and I enjoyed all that stuff because they were sincere, and I knew they loved WVU. They loved WVU. They woke up WVU. went to bed, WVU, eat, sleep, everything they had was going to that. I mean, and most of them were hard workers, which was other thing. I mean, a lot of the people did like especially in Beckley, you see a lot of miners, you know, and a lot of hardworking, what they call like a blue collar work, right?
Hmm.
So you see a lot of that blue collar work from people. They work with their hands, they do a hard job, and then and on a weekend they come to watch you and relax, and they're grateful for that, and I'm grateful for them. So that's why I'm biased. Everything I saw, I looked at it from that window. So for me, it's the most beautiful place in the world for me. And I've been to a lot of places.
Okay, so let's talk about your recruiting now, and let's just focus on WVU for just for the sake of this. When you look at when WVU first came onto the scene for you, do you remember that moment whenever either Coach Hugs or his coaching staff came up to you and said, "Hey, we would love for you to don the gold and blue for us"?
Right. Well, this is what happened. I went to Dallas, came back, and then we found a school. Then I went to Mountain State Academy. Well, I didn't know how anything worked. That's the first thing. Before that, in Europe, this is how it works. Your school and your basketball club is separated, right? You don't play for school. So you go to your school, and after you're done with the school time, you go to the practice for your club, FS, whatever, Milano, it doesn't matter. All over Europe, this is how it goes. You go to your club, you do your practice, you come back, and nobody cares about your homework or whatever. If you get in trouble in school, your coach don't care, whatever. So they're two separate entities. While I came to US, and there's no recruiting. You go to a club, if you're successful over there, they offer you a contract when you're 15, 16, whatever, and then you sign the contract for 7, 8 years, and then you go from there. That's how it goes. Well, this was the first time I seen something like this, and I don't know anything but North Carolina. I don't know any other school, and UCLA. I just know those two things. Uh, UCLA from watching like National Geographic and stuff, and most of the time, all the professors, like I picked up on that, all the professors and stuff was like, oh, from UCLA, professor or whatever, right? And then you see UCLA all the time, and North Carolina, of course, because of Jordan. So I would say like, yeah, North Carolina, if they come, yeah, that would be amazing. And then Duke, and then I started learning about Duke, Coach K. I knew Coach K from U.S. national teams, but I didn't know he was like, what he was doing and how big Duke was and stuff. I don't know any of that. I don't know what Big East is. I don't know what Pac-10 is. I don't know any of those things. So for me, it was overwhelming because I came in, I played, I did a week of practice, played one game, and then coaches start flooding in. The papers start writing, this kid is really good, whatever. This coach said this about Dennis, this coach says this about Dennis, and I'm going, and I don't even know English that well, by the way. I can't speak a lick of English. It was kind of like, I was telling people to like really slow down, try to understand every word and everything. So, and people trying to interview me at that time, it was crazy. In a week, my life changed. In 1 week, people start coming in, and all the coaches are starting coming in, and there would be 3 coaches at the same time. That would be, for example, like this is, I'm saying as an example. I don't know. This didn't really happen, but like it would be 3 head coaches. It'd be like a Hugs, Coach K, and back then Ben Howland was UCLA's coach, and him. for example. The three of them would be there. And then after that, I would wait and talk to one coach. The other two coaches would wait. And then I'll go talk to all those coaches. But also I was late starting my school year because I had to do this visa thing and I had to get this paper for which is called, I don't remember, but I think it was I-20 or whatever. For foreign people, you got to do that thing. So I was a little late. While all these coaches coming and telling me all these things, they're going, oh, you're gonna live here, and we're gonna, you're a great player. I'm gonna show you the school. This is the school they show me from the, these booklets and stuff, and they show me all these things. And I'm going, and I have a buddy. He also came from Turkey with me, but he was younger than me. So I'm going, dude, what am I gonna do? Like every day, there's 6, 7 coaches now. After a week after that, it start to become like 6, 7 coaches coming to the practice, and it's not like now a highly recruited kid would get, for example, like top offers, like UConn will come to him, Texas come to him, Kansas come to him, let's say. But you wouldn't, the coaches from Central Michigan wouldn't go to him, right? With me, it wasn't like that. I would have low major offers, high major offers, all of them. It would be 20 people, 10, 7 coaches, 10 coaches, 12 coaches. So at that time, I would ask my coach, to Rob, I would ask him, like, dude, like, what am I going to do? And Rob would say, you do this, you do this. But, West Virginia is really good. But they haven't been to the practice. So he was kind of like nudging me to West Virginia. And I also didn't want to leave West Virginia because of my American parents. I mean, I would go to Kentucky, but because they're from Kentucky, the family was from Kentucky, they were pushing for that. Well, like, Kentucky's really good, go to Kentucky. And then one day Hugs came, right? And before that, I got accustomed to how things were going, right? The coaches had a certain way of speaking. They would tell you about the college and the stuff, and they try to pick you up with these like college life things, like college life. They would tell you like you're really talented, you have a great touch, or you're very mobile, athletic, and this is what we were looking for. And then they will go on to talking about like, how the college is awesome, and we are this and that, and there's beaches and flowers, and it's amazing, right? Well, Hux came in, I started talking to him, and he talks about basketball a lot more than other coaches. That's the first thing I noticed. And half of it just flies over my head because I don't understand. He goes, you're really good. You're really talented. You can be better. And I think and this and this and this and this, you suck. You're not that good. And I go, okay, all right. And me being a European, I was already, this is what we do. If you go to somewhere and if you're 17, right? If you're eating a burger, you can get a beer. I mean, it's not legal. You got to be 18, but still nobody gives two shits, I started like having these like one little glass of wine or whatever when I was like 14, 15. So Hugs took me to Hooters to recruit me. So we went out to eat. We went to Hooters. And Hugs goes, what do you want? I go, okay, this burger, whatever, and a beer. And all start laughing. They all start laughing. Hugs goes, yeah, that's my guy, right? Cool. Well, they didn't ask nothing. And this is how we talked. And I said, look, coach, I want to be really good. I want to be really good. I think I have a shot of going to the league. And the coaches before you came and talked to me about all the girls, how the girls are great, and you should come and visit and see what's going on, you know. But you talked about the basketball a lot more, way more, and what you were going to do and how you were going to push me. My dad is also a hard ass, like Hugs. It's my way or the highway. That's how my dad is. So I also felt really close to Hugs because of that. It was kind of like, and I was missing my dad also at that point. And I'm like, dude, if I go here, I think he'll help me. I trusted him. I'm not saying I didn't trust the other coaches. I'm not trying to put them down. It's just Hugs had that kind of energy, and I felt I trusted him, and I felt really good. I went back home, and I said, I think I'm going to go to West Virginia, and everybody was really happy and everything. And I didn't even visit any other college. I didn't play AAU, uh, and I didn't visit any college, which is crazy. I think you have uh, you had three chances to go whichever college you want to. And I just went to West Virginia to sign. I didn't went there to visit. I didn't go there to visit. I went there to sign, right? And they took me out, went to Kegler's and all that with Joe Mazzulla. Shout out to him. And Joe was still thinking that he has to do things to, you know, like show me the life over here for me to sign and everything, right? I'm like, yo, Joe, I'm gonna sign anyways. It doesn't matter if I can drink or whatever and do all these things. I'm gonna sign. I came here to sign. And that was recruiting for me. It wasn't, I didn't go see a lot of places. I saw Hugs, and Hugs for me was bright guy. Tough. I knew he was gonna push me because I knew deep down inside, I'm a stubborn guy, like Hugs is. You know, if I became a coach, which I wouldn't want to do, but if I did, I'd probably be like Hugs, you know? So it was right on my alley. I knew what to expect from him, and I knew he was going to push me. And I knew deep down inside, I needed to be pushed. So I went, Hugs, that's it. I'm with you.
I'm still getting over the fact that he took you to Hooters.
Well, there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
It was closer, and it was kind of like a sports bar. They asked me, like, what do you want to eat? I go, like, burgers. What about Hooters? And they go, okay. It's not like Hugs took me, like, let's go to the Hooters, man. It wasn't like,
Right.
He's like, where do you want to go? I'm like, Hooters. So they're like, okay.
That's awesome. One of the all-time best stories right there. I never heard that before. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to bring up a moment from your first season at WVU that Kevin and I discussed whenever he was on my podcast a few weeks back. For people that remember, just to jog people's memories again, after WVU beat Kentucky in the Elite Eight, you saw John dance, then you saw Kevin do the John Wall and then threw up the no. And then Kevin told me, Deniz, a fascinating story about you. He said that whenever you all were leaving, you guys walked past Kentucky's bus and you did the exact same thing that Kevin did. Do you remember that?
I probably did that, bro. I mean, for me, that day was so, like, I was so overwhelmed with emotion. I was so happy because, like I said, I was coming from a 22 game suspension, which was unfair. Back then, everybody would get that. I'm not saying it was unfair because they the conviction was wrong. I
Mhm.
mean, that was the rules. Rules are rules, but it was still too harsh. Those rules were too harsh, you know? And I was dealing with that whole year. And we end up going to Big East tournament, winning that, and then beating Kentucky when they were favorites. I mean, nobody gave us a chance. Everybody's bracket was done, you know? Nobody gave us a chance but the West Virginia people from West Virginia. It was like 92% to 8%, I think something like that. And I was so happy. So probably I did went in front of their bus and did that shit too. Because at that time, if they came out and tried to fight me, I'll fight them. That's how happy I felt, and that's how powerful I felt with those guys, man. I'll still do the same thing. I mean, if I have Kev, Deshaun, Truck, and all on my side, I'll take over the world. I don't need many people, you know. You just need a couple guys like that. I still feel that way because we went through a lot. Hugs put us through a lot, and we survived that together. So for me, it's kind of like an army thing, you know. Like you go to an army, you go to a war. There's the guys with you. That's how traumatic it can be practicing with Hugs. Working out with Hugs and going for 4 years with Hugs. Well, it could be traumatizing for you, but it will make you man. So we went through that together. That's why we're not speaking every day. Me and Kevin, me and Chuck, we're not like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" Every other day. We're not talking like that. But when we do, it's right where we dropped off. We pick up right where we left off. So with them, I felt so good that I probably would have got into their bus.
Oh boy. Okay, so a couple other questions I have, and I want to start with the camaraderie, that family bond it seemed like with you all in that 09-10 season, the year that you all went to the Final Four. And I'll ask this question. What made that team so fun to play with, and what made that team so special to be a part of as well?
First of all, everybody knew their role, right? We didn't have no like I am the guy. I'm gonna score all the points. And Hugs would never let you do that. He will break you so bad that you lose yourself, or you'll just give in and do what he says. But we didn't have that characters either. He didn't have to break anybody. By the way, I mean I came in. These kids were, I mean, Deshaun and Truck and Kev. It was their second year. They're older than me, so they already worked with Hugs. Maybe he broke them already. I don't know. But when I came in, we had everybody knew their role. Nobody was like, I'm gonna shoot all the balls, and nobody was nervous about their future either. Like, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna get a job or whatever. They didn't feel that kind of thing. And we really played for each other, which is a cliche word. Everybody uses that. We play for each other. We really played for each other. We beat Kentucky by screening them over and over and over again. That's how we won. It's not because we scored many points. It's not because like we were so much more talented than they were. We just beat them. Some guys, we had Cam Thurman. We always fought with Cam in practice but he wasn't like fight that I hate him and I fight him, or like it was because we were too physical and he would just give me one elbow, I'll give him back, and then it would just escalate. So we go into a rebound and then he pull me, I'll pull him, and then it would just bam, start fighting, you know. But after that, bloody nose, whatever. We're cool, bro. We're cool. Let's go. Take it back. And Hugs wouldn't stop practice for stuff like this. You know, he wouldn't be like, oh, pick him up and, you know, separate him if it didn't get out of hand. Uh, if it was like me and Cam going through something like this, he would just let us do it. So that's why we never had problems. Sometimes I would talk trash to him, he would talk trash to me. And I was a highly recruited guy. I was very talented. Cam was none of those things. Cam was undersized. He didn't have much of a skill, but he had the heart of a lion, you know. And he played over me, and I was fine with it. You know, I would say, yeah, okay, he had to play there because I didn't do what he did. So we had that thing also. It's very hard to capture that spirit in a team. And this is why Hugs the Hall of Famer. And you can't do this year after year after year, but he somehow manages to do it. It's so hard to do. I mean, professionally, I saw it now with a more mature mindset. I can look from outside to the teams that I played, and I never had that kind of leadership from a coach, leadership from the older guys in the team. I mean, Deshaun was the field general, you know, and he'd be harsh on you sometimes, but for me, it's a big brother to me. I love him to death. He taught me everything. Chuck, he taught me everything. Kev, everything I know that I learned from them, you know. English, just going out, what to do, or how to screen and how to, you know, get open or whatever. So that year we had this telepathic thing going on. Like we would look at each other and then we'll know what to do. It was kind of like that. And like I said, I was out for 20 games. I wasn't with those guys, but when I went in, everybody started feeding me. Day was the guy, right? Deshaun was the guy that year who scored 30 points, 35 points, shot, you know, I mean, took us to the whole thing on his back, you know. But pit game, my first game, he takes the ball, gives it to me right away. Takes the second time, takes the ball, gives it to me. Third time, gives it to me. Fourth time, gives it to me. And it's his senior year. I can mess it up for him. It's a big, very big thing that he did for me because he knew how important that was for me. And he trusted me enough. He knew that I could do it. I could deliver. So yeah, that year I don't think I'll ever have a team like this. I felt that comfortable going to war with people beside me.
Absolutely. Two more. And well, actually, it's just one more because it's pretty much combining it all. When you look back at your time at WVU from 2009 to 2013, again, you missed half a season your first season, but you were able to do a lot of different things for WVU. You scored 850 plus points. You know, you had multiple 20-point performances. You were a great player overall. But when you look at your time at WVU, how would you best characterize your time with the Mountaineers?
First of all, it made me being in WVU and working with Hugs and working with all these great players and great people made me who I am today. And it's the biggest part. From 17 years old, 18 years old to 23 years old is a really crucial time in a man's life. Especially, I'm saying man because in it is so much different for us to experience some things. Experience hard work, experience work ethic, experience authority figures, and how to approach them, and how to work with them. And for me, those years made me who I am. And if I have to characterize it, I would say it was kind of like I built myself with the help of those guys. I built myself into a new person, a mature, uh, from a kid that, was talented. I mean, I always worked hard, but mentally I was not there. I was, in some parts I was soft. I would break easily. I would get too emotional, uh, and I didn't know how to control it. And the years in WVU helped me control that and make myself who I am today. The reason I'm still playing after terrible injuries, after playing with terrible coaches, terrible players. I mean, I had experiences. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. You have tough times professionally, way worse times than college. I mean, if I could go back last year and talk to those kids, they were thinking having a bad time probably. They're losing. They're thinking, oh, we're having a bad time. What are we going to do? That's nothing. It's nothing. Professionally, you can have way worse things, and it will affect your career, and you don't have time. But if you're tough enough, and if you know how to work hard, if you teach yourself how to work hard, which Hugs taught me that, you just go through those things. You just go right through them. See right through people. They're phony. They're kind of like, there for the wrong reasons. You start to see all these things. So without WVU, I wouldn't be playing basketball right now. After my Achilles injury, probably I would have just quit if I didn't play for Hugs and if I wasn't in WVU. Also, other thing is, we played for each other, but also we played for people. I mean, if you go on YouTube and look at the Hugs's pregame speech to us, I think it was before UConn game or after UConn game. He got kicked out and we ended up winning the game. And then we were playing before Big East tournament. I think I can't remember the exact time when it was, but if you go and see that pre-game speech, you see he doesn't talk about anything related to basketball. Nothing. We talk about the things like all the people that are coming over there all week. They worked really hard under, how many miles of, coal they worked under that. And, some people have 2 jobs, try to take care of 3 kids, and single mothers, single fathers, all those people come and watch you and try to find that fire that make him go another week. So we owe to them that, and we played for them also. So for me, every time we lost, it was so overwhelming for me. After that too, after that year especially, after we went to Final Four, every time we lost, I would just break every time. So doing things for other people, taking responsibilities for other people, your buddies, and working hard for them, not just for yourself, but for other people. I think that would best characterize my time on WVU.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. Because I think whenever you hear that from different players as well, and even coaches for that matter, you hear that common theme of playing for not only yourself, but you're playing for the state. So I think I understand where you're coming from as well. But well, Deniz, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with you. A lot of great insight, a lot of great stories as well. And I appreciate I'm definitely going to have you back on. There were a couple other WVU questions I didn't ask you, but hey, I loved it and I appreciate your time as always.
I appreciate it for everything, man. Thank you for having me on your podcast, and best of luck to you. Um, Thank you again for making me remember this and talk about it again. It was amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, that'll conclude episode 105 of Hoops Across the Mountain State with our terrific guest, Deniz Kilicli, WVU 4-year letterman as well. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about this podcast. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as well. And I will catch you all next time with another great Mountaineer legend and West Virginia native as well. Won't give it away, but you want to see what's up next on episode 106 of Hoops Across the Mountain State. I'll see you all then.